This is the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. It is about 6 miles or 10 kilometers wide and was traveling at a speed of 24,000 miles per hour or 40,000 kilometers per hour. When it crashed into Earth, it left a crater almost 100 miles or 180 kilometers across. This cosmic collision unleashed unimaginable devastation upon our planet. But while the impact triggered massive earthquakes, tsunamis, and forever altered Earth's climate, it didn't actually kill off all species immediately. In fact, some creatures survived this apocalypse, including mammals. However, it would take tens of millions of years for life to bounce back to pre-impact levels. And we wouldn't exist today if not for the cataclysm that wiped out the dinosaurs. But this wasn't the first time that Earth experienced such mass extinction. Hi, it's me, and this is Life Noggin. Today we are going to talk about Earth's greatest mass extinctions, how they occurred, and why they happened. First, let's talk about what a mass extinction is. Scientists define a mass extinction as an event during which there is a significant decrease in biodiversity. But to qualify as a mass extinction, more than 75% of species must be wiped out. As you can imagine, these events have had a huge impact on life on Earth, and it thus thought that 5 major mass extinctions have occurred throughout history. Our first mass extinction, which took place around 485 million years ago during the Ordovician period, has been named the Great Dying. But that name is a bit misleading because this event actually happened over millions of years and wasn't really a sudden event. During the Ordovician, life on Earth began to flourish. Shallow seas teemed with mollusks, coral reefs thrived, and the first jawed fish were swimming around. But then the continents drifted into a new position, which led to massive changes in ocean currents and temperatures. This meant that many shallow water species went extinct, especially in the colder, deeper waters of the equator. And although no one knows the exact cause, most scientists agree that this was caused by a series of volcanic eruptions. Over time, these eruptions released tons of carbon dioxide and sulfur compounds into the atmosphere. This caused global warming and acid rain, which led to the extinction of over 85% of all species. However, life on Earth would go on to recover and flourish once again, setting the stage for our next mass extinction. During the late Devonian period, approximately 359 million years ago, another mass extinction started to unfold. While its cause is unknown, scientists think that massive amounts of volcanic ash blocked sunlight, triggering an ice age. Another theory proposes that a large asteroid impact triggered rapid climate change. Whatever the cause, it was fatal for many species, including the first terrestrial tetrapods or 4-footed vertebrates. Overall, it's estimated that 50 to 75% of marine and terrestrial species were wiped out. But this didn't even come close to being the deadliest mass extinction Earth had ever seen. And our next mass extinction would occur 25 million years later during the Permian period. 299 million years ago, Earth started to experience strange and deadly climatic changes. Volcanoes erupted, releasing massive amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Oceans became acidic, and drastic temperature swings led to the formation of vast deserts. Once again, life on Earth would never be the same. The ecological disaster that unfolded is commonly referred to as the Great Dying because it was the most intense mass extinction event in Earth's history. More than 90% of marine species and 70% of terrestrial vertebrates disappeared. In fact, only 12% of all species that existed before the Permian survived. With so much life disappearing, it's no wonder that the Great Dying has also been called the sixth mass extinction because it essentially cleared the way for the rise of dinosaurs. But this was still nothing compared to the next mass extinction, which would take place 180 million years later during the Cretaceous period. 145 million years ago, a large asteroid slammed into Earth near the Yucatan Peninsula. It's now known as the Chicxulub crater, and it measures about 110 miles or 180 kilometers across. Although the asteroid was an estimated 6 miles or 10 kilometers wide, other factors may have contributed to the mass extinction as well. For example, there is evidence that massive volcanic eruptions were occurring in India at the same time. Regardless of the cause, the end of the Cretaceous marked the end of an era. The asteroid's impact triggered earthquakes, tsunamis, and ultimately blocked out the sun. Plants died, the food chain collapsed, and over the next few million years, an estimated 75 to 80% of all species went extinct, including the dinosaurs. But perhaps more importantly, many mammals survived, paving the way for the rise of humans. But the story doesn't end there because we have played a role in the sixth mass extinction. While it hasn't reached the scale of previous mass extinctions, researchers estimate that we are currently losing species at a rate 1,000 times faster than normal. Humans have caused habitat destruction, pollution, overfishing, and climate change, which have all negatively impacted biodiversity. And while we don't know how severe this mass extinction will be, we do know that it will have a huge impact on our world. And if things continue like today, it could get even worse. So let's explore a few ways that the future of life on Earth could unfold. One possibility was proposed by Paul Ehrlich and Peter Raven in 2006, when they published an article titled "The Sixth Extinction: Are We Undermining the Biosphere?" In their paper, the pair argued that current extinction rates would eventually lead to a world that is virtually devoid of most life forms. By the year 2050, they predicted that if current trends continue, 40% of species could be gone. Then by the year 2100, 50 to 70% of species could be lost. And eventually, within a few million years, Earth could lose up to 80% of its biodiversity. However, others disagree with these predictions. Stephen Meyer, a philosopher and author of Signature in the Cell, DNA and the Evidence for Intelligent Design, believes that there is a reason to be optimistic. Meyer argues that current technological advances and innovations can help us reverse damage we've done to the environment. He uses the example of reintroducing wolves to Yellowstone National Park, which had a positive cascading effect on the entire ecosystem. In the past 20 years, wolf populations have rebounded from just a few dozen individuals to over 100. Their presence has helped control the elk population and restore habitats, which in turn has helped other species thrive. If humans can continue to implement similar conservation efforts and make lifestyle changes, we can ensure a healthy future for our planet. But we can also look to the past to help inform our future actions. Researchers have found that after each mass extinction event, it took between 5 and 10 million years for life to return to pre-extinction levels. For example, after the Great Dying, it took an estimated 5 million years for life to recover. Meanwhile, after the extinction that killed the dinosaurs, it took an estimated 9 million years for life to return to normal. Ultimately, there is hope that life on Earth will follow a similar trajectory. In fact, mammals experienced a rapid diversification following the Cretaceous-Paleogene mass extinction event, going from 400 species to over 4,000 in just a few million years. And mammals were already well adapted for the world that existed after the extinction, meaning that they were able to quickly fill niches that were left vacant after the death of the dinosaurs. Researchers are hopeful that birds, which were also around during the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction, could have a similar impact on today's world. In fact, following the extinction, birds diversified rapidly and evolved into most modern bird species we see today. So, what can we learn from this? Birds have been able to adapt to drastic environmental conditions, and they have played a key role in restoring ecosystems. Perhaps we can take a cue from them by learning to adapt ourselves and implementing solutions to the problems we face today. Ultimately, it is clear that mass extinctions have shaped life on Earth, and they will continue to do so. While we don't know exactly what the future holds, we do know that every mass extinction has been followed by an increase in biodiversity. So hopefully in time, life on Earth will return to its previous state. But until then, we need to take action to prevent further damage to our environment and to find solutions to the problems they created. Now it's time for you to make your voice heard. Comment below and tell me what you think we should do to preserve life on Earth. If you want to learn more about mass extinctions, check out the description for additional resources. And as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time on Life Noggin.